Morning, it's Camaro Man, just checking in. Had a busy night last night, spent the week taking the rest of the 71 Camaro SS apart. I took out the dashboard and I got the rear end out last night. The two rear shackle bolts I was able to get out unbelievably. A little penetrating oil, let's set for a few days. And I took a last shot at them last night with a 2-pound sledge and they started to move, so I just drove those out. But the 6 bolts holding the front section of the leaf springs in the torque box area, I needed to cut them all with my torch. If you didn't have a torch, you could use one of those electric grinders, I would think, to just grind the bolts loose and get the brackets out. So took it all out in one unit. I'll show you in a second how that looks. And just a kind of a tip, when you're taking anything apart in these cars, you want to take them out as much of a sub-assembly as you can. Think of it, when they build a car, when they manufacture a car, you'll see, like if you see videos from a GM factory or something like that, or any factory for that matter, what they do is they take the whole dashboard, they put it in all at once and maybe stick a gauge package in, tie it all up, and it takes them on the line about 60 seconds to do it. So of course it's going to take a lot longer for you or I to do it, but the process should be the reverse of that. You don't want to take out little components here and there and make a big job out of something that should be fairly straightforward. Dashboard, for example, you take out the screws for the dash pad itself, and you just lift the whole pad out, and a couple of the vents come with it, so it comes out pretty easily. Same thing's true of the rear end. You take the the leaf springs with it, and the brackets for the front where it goes into the torque boxes. But I don't take the shackles out. I take those out afterwards. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. My next project, small but still a project, is to get those shackles out and hopefully not destroy the bolts, so I can reuse them and destroy the shackles as well. Hopefully I don't have to cut those out, but if I do, I can always get new bolts. So anyways, just very briefly, I added a couple of things to the chalkboard. I don't know if you can see that, but process as far as, we talked about the car being flat, square. Check your lines before you go. Constantly check your lines you're going through the project to make sure that nothing's shifted. Disassemble, we talked about that. We're pretty much there. We're ready to tackle that 1,000-pound gorilla in the room, the shackles, the torque box areas. But, when you take it apart and you get to this point, especially when you're in the process of disassembling it, there's so much that you look at visually that clogs your mind up saying, how am I ever going to get through this project? So, as I said, kind of a tip is, take out the sub-assemblies, and then you can work on the chassis of the car. You get all that repair work done, the structural repairs, and then patching here and there. Get your wheel houses back in, your trunk extensions, your quarter panels, get them all welded up, rear body panels straightened out. And any body work you need to get done, you do your rough body work and you prime it, and then do your high build primer. We'll seal it first with your self-etching sealer primer, DP primer. And then do your and then prime it, with your high build primer, and then you're ready to kind of move on to another area, like get the rear end squared away, or clean the engine up, or whatever it is. But you want to get one thing done and then move on to the next. Don't try to tackle everything at once unless you have all day to do it and you're in a professional shop, or you're crazy and you just want to lose scope of the project and sell the project. It's a parts project down the road, which really isn't a goal for you. Yes, certainly not a goal for me. So I've added, don't overwhelm yourself. Pick your battles. Work on your sub-assemblies. Believe it or not, the chassis, when the fenders, the core supports off, and the subframe is out, is basically one sub-assembly, right? It's one big piece of welded together metal. So there's one sub-assembly. Then we'll look at the engine cradle. Or the subframe, and then the header panel, 2 fenders, all that. So don't overwhelm yourself, take it one step at a time. And lastly, and most importantly, is don't rush. If you're working on something that's not cooperating with you, don't rush it. Don't take out a big hammer and start smashing away and make more work for yourself or ruin the project altogether. Just walk away. Tomorrow's another day, or if it's next weekend, you got to wait till next weekend, or maybe at night when you get home from work, something like that. So don't rush is the last point. And then just quickly, once again, I'm just going to walk you to the back just to show you what I did. I'm going to show you the dash area, how that looks now, and then just take a couple of quick looks at the rear shackle area and where the torque boxes are and those rotted areas so you can see them. And then the next video I do will be, I'll actually be in there working on it, either cutting those bolts out or cutting out those rotted sections and showing you how we're going to drill out the used parts that we have, and we're going to cut them to fit and get them ready to weld in. So that might take 2 or 3 additional videos. They'll probably be shorter, but they'll probably be a lot more interesting as well. So anyways, I'm going to take you for a little walk. Don't get too crazy with the camera here. I'll try to be as gentle as I can be. So as you can see, the rear end's out. I put these wheels here last night because I had my other car in here. It was getting kind of tight on space. But as you can see, there's the bracket for the front of the leaf spring. Tire down, tire down, tire down. I'm going to tire down here. Okay, I'm going to just drop the second one here. So you can see the rear end's out. It's all one sub-assembly. The leaf springs is still attached. And what I'll do is I'll actually bring this around. I'll drag it around my little bucket that I have, my little tractor. And we'll get that in the back. I'll put that in the basement where I can kind of store it, but then I can always work on it if I do need to change a pace or if I want to, get the leaf springs off at some point and get new leaf springs and get that all cleaned up, get the rear end degunked and painted and looking good. This one actually, I noticed last night that this brake drum is all rusted out. It must have water sitting in it. You can see if I get up real close, you can see kind of there's a chunk. Maybe you can see, yeah, see that right there? There's a chunk, and that chunk is gone all the way around, pretty much the whole drum. So I think a pair of drums are in order on this. Of course, we'll do new brake pads, new wheel cylinders, and get that all working nice and new. This also needs, these emergency brake cables here are actually pretty good. They actually work, so we'll get those, put those back into service. I think they'll be fine. But the emergency brake cable that goes up into the car itself, where the foot goes, is rusted and it's frozen, so it's actually frayed and it cut. So that's going to, absolutely have to be replaced. So you can see from inside the car, the dash is gone. There's nothing there. I'm going to leave the wheel in. I'll cover it. Same is true of the headliner. The headliner is in great shape on this car. I'm not going to do anything. Hopefully I don't damage it in the process. And the last thing I'm going to show you will be the back of the leaf spring shackle areas in the front where it, where it meets the front of the torque box. So we've got about 30 seconds left in this video, maybe a minute, but just go slow so you don't get dizzy. I'm going to take you under the car. We're going to look at that rusted area. I'm going to kind of pan up. You can see this is where the bracket goes for the. See right up in that pocket is where the front of the leaf spring bolts up, and then that'll be the area, the frame section that gets cut out and replaced with the new used section. So we've got good material up here. We can section right into it. That should work out all right. So in the back area, we've got the torque box area. I'm sorry, not the torque box, but the shackle area at the back of the frame rail. It's a little rough on the end, but it's actually not in bad shape. A little patching and welding. That should be nice and strong. And then I'm just going to walk over to show what we're up against on the other side as far as those same 2 areas go. And it's a beautiful day here in New Hampshire, so I'm not going to spend much time inside. I'm actually going to go outside and play in my tractor for a while because the weather's so nice. But you can see on this side, it's the right side, or the passenger side. Again, this is in pretty rough shape, but we'll get through that as well. And then this is that torque box area. It actually looks better than the other side. And looking at this, the torque box area itself actually isn't that bad. It's the frame around it. So, but I think it's all going to be one, pretty much one unit. So, and then you look at the rear where the shackles go on the right side. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little dark. some glare coming from the light. But it's actually in pretty good shape. So, well, and the rear body panel on this has got a pretty good dent in it, but it's the body panel itself is pretty sound. So I think we'll pull that out and try to reuse that. I hate to, everything you cut out and re-weld in is just more room for error. So if you can keep the old piece and reuse it, as bad as that looks, that should come out all right, I think. It's just sheet metal, so we'll pull that out. So that's pretty much it today for my video, my 15 minutes of fame here. So I will reconnect again shortly, and like I said, my next video will be working in the way back there and getting that all cut out and ready to go. So once again, from New Hampshire, it's Camaro Man. I hope you visit the site, my channel. You can find me at Camaro Restoration, Camaro Man, and it should pop up. Hopefully you take a look and enjoy what you see. All right, till next time, I'll see you. Goodbye.